Best-selling author Brilyn Hollyhand. Brilyn, good morning to you. So what do you make of this move? I mean, we saw that TikTok became an important thing for candidate Donald Trump when he was running for his second term. Now the White House says it's an important way to communicate with your generation. Is it?
It absolutely is. The entire reason President Trump is sitting in the Oval Office this morning is because he used out-of-the-box thinking to modernize the grand old party. And I'm encouraging the president, if he's watching Mornings with Maria this morning, to not stop at TikTok. I have a feel it is for him to continue to engage the next generation as we go into the midterms in 26 and get ready for J.D. Vance's run in 2028. I'm encouraging the president to go back to podcasting, to host some type of modern-day fireside chat. Podcasting obviously worked really well for the president. It was an authentic, relatable, down-to-earth way for him to just talk to the American voters. A lot of politicians can't talk without a script. He could sit down for 3 hours on a podcast and talk. I'm encouraging him maybe once a month for 30 minutes to sit down in a modern-day fireside chat format to speak to everyday Americans about the accomplishments of that month. Another idea for the president is to go on a college campus speaking tour. I was just with him a few months ago when he came to give the commencement address at the University of Alabama. I had the opportunity to speak to him for a few minutes backstage, and I got to tell you, the crowd was more electric than I've ever seen a college campus for the President of the United States. I've been to dozens of college football games. I've never seen a room so excited to see the Commander-in-Chief. Imagine having the President of the United States crisscross the nation, speaking on college campuses, speaking directly to the next generation. I mean, you remember this time last year when the President went and spoke at the Bronx, as deep blue territory as it gets, those were unseen, unheard people that had a President come visit them. Imagine that same reaction when he goes to Harvard University and speaks to the next generation. It would be awesome.
Well, I'm sure the vice president, if he's watching, appreciates you saying that he's running in 2028. But Maria did ask him if he has those plans, and he said, not yet. I'm focused on my work right now. So I want to just point that out. But what about the national security concern? I mean, is that something that your generation even thinks about? Because, you know, there's been a lot of bipartisan criticism of TikTok and the algorithm and how this is it's a Chinese company. This is ByteDance. And this is why this whole argument started. Do you even think about that part of it, or to you is TikTok just an app and you feel safe using it?
I'll say the same thing I told President Trump when he asked me that same question during the campaign. If the United States as a government bans the app on the platform for Americans, that's one thing. But from the Republican political side, if we put this self-imposed sanctimonious boycott on the platform and just get off it ourselves, we're waving the white flag and giving the entire For You page to the left for them to dominate. For the only information that my peers see as they scroll every day is just to be leftist propaganda. So if we evade the platform, if we get off of it ourselves, there will be no more counteraction. There will be no information getting directly to Gen Z about the incredible accomplishments of the president's first 8 months. So that's why I'm encouraging him to be on it. That's why he did so well on it. And he's owning the For You page at the moment.
All right. Well, you do have a new op-ed for FoxNews.com about the rise of socialism, especially among the younger generations. Here's what you wrote. My generation isn't lost. More and more of us are waking up to the truth. Socialism doesn't level the playing field. It levels the entire country into shared misery. There's a growing number of young conservatives who aren't interested in watching the American experiment get dismantled. We intend to keep the promise of this country alive. Tell us more about what motivated you to write this, because here in New York, you know, there's this Democratic socialist running for mayor, Zohran Mamdani, and that younger generation, those younger voters, are the ones that really came out for him. Explain this to me.
Yeah, socialism is the gateway drug to communism. And for my parents' and grandparents' generation, for decades, socialism seemed like this threat overseas. Unfortunately, for my peers and I today, it's knocking right on City Hall's front door. And we're trying to prevent that threat from being let in. I mean, how this all began is in classrooms. I mean, activists in teachers' clothing seeped into the education system and indoctrinated my peers into switching out gratitude for America with guilt for America, making us feel guilty for our capitalism. And I got to tell you, capitalism builds dreams and socialism destroys them. And to my peers watching this morning, I just want to simply say, socialism is not a TikTok trend. It's not some experiment that you can test out in a lab. Socialism has been tested, and it has failed every single time it's been tested. I mean, people build rafts out of garbage to flee socialist nations. If socialism worked so well, people would be trying to break into Cuba, not break out of it. You cannot find me a single person that has fled a socialist country, that has come to America for a life of freedom, and wants to see that socialism creep back into this country, because they can tell you that when socialism takes hold of a nation, it strangles it, and you cannot get its evil, horrible hands off of it. This is a stupid idea. Gen Z's slowly waking up to it, but so far they've been tempted by these free things dangling in front of their face. we're trying to push back against that narrative.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you that, because when you tell someone in their early 20s that the rent's going to be frozen and they're going to get free groceries, they think, well, great. And
of course,
we know that doesn't work because we know what socialism is, but they don't understand that. Just real quick, why is that?
It's been a lack of education. Instead of learning about the horrible actions of socialism across the country and how it's failed throughout history, we learned about gender pronouns in classrooms. We need to switch that back out and say, this is why this is horrible. This is why this has failed. Because genuinely, I spoke on 22 college campuses in the last year. This theme came up a lot of people saying, well, why are you anti-socialism? I would love for things to be free. Wouldn't you like for things to be free? And when I proved to them nation after nation where it's failed, they'd never heard that. They had no idea that socialism has been tried and failed before. If maybe the activists and teachers' clothing stepped up a little bit and we got them out of the education system where we actually taught Americans real history instead of gender pronouns, we might be in a better off situation, Cheryl.
Brilyn Hollyhand, it's always great to speak with you. Always a pleasure. Thank you for joining us this morning. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend.
All right.